Hi, and welcome to another video of the Target Individual Program, the Target Individual Experience. Here I am again, another video, and this time I want to recommend a book that every TI should read. Okay, now if you have the means to purchase this book, I would suggest you do it. If you don't have the means, um, then you can search uh, online in where you can buy the book in PDF form uh, at a lesser price. Um, that could be a way that if you don't have a lot of money, being that you're a TI, um, I know that finances are, for some of us, non-existent. For others, um, we're just getting by day to day, and for others who are allowed to work, but you don't make the type of money that you used to make before you became a targeted individual or a target in a non-consensual government human experimentation program. Okay, so for those who have no means of all at well, I mean, if you have a computer, if you have a phone, obviously you pay the bill, right? So you should have uh, some funds to at least purchase this book, whether hardcover or PDF form. Like I said, the PDF form will probably be cheaper, so I would go for that. And let's get to the name of the book. So this is a book written by a French psychologist, okay, named Marie France uh, Yen, okay, and this book is called Stalking the Soul: Emotional Abuse and the Erosion of Identity. Again, a lot of the things that you're going to read in this book, you yourself as a target individual uh, will recognize and identify it because of the psychological nature of this program. I'm talking about the Coercive Persuasion Program, right? The psychological part of the overall program, which is the non-consensual human experimentation, uh, experimenting on human beings with directed energy weapons, and that includes weapon that directed energy weapons that can harm an individual, directed energy weapon that uses microwave radio wave frequency for the purpose of mind control, illegal microchipping for the purpose of what is called remote neural monitoring. Okay, so what this book deals with, though, is the overarching psychological program that is run to discredit targets, to target them and destroy their identity, destroy their livelihood, destroy their status, destroy their health, destroy their mindset, okay, their psyche, in order to discredit them and to make them appear as crazy, also to emotionally abuse them so that they can commit acts of violence, so that they will be killed or institutionalized, whether through the penal system or through the psychiatric system. Okay, so I just want to read this excerpt here uh, as they talk about what this book is about and what the author intended for us to know. Okay, claiming that emotional abusive relationships are widespread in marriage, family, families, and the workplace. French psychotherapist Hira Goyen uh, illuminates the subtle, insidious relationship that emotional abusers and their victims evolved, while recognizing that the clean violence of an emotional abuser, who, as a natural manipulator, often attracts others with a dynamic winning style, is hard to prove. She aims to enable those who are being abused or abused to recognize what's going on and get help, and to alert her fellow therapists to the danger sign. Often, emotional abuse builds over a long period of time until it becomes so unbearable that victims lash out in frustration and anger, only to appear unstable and aggressive themselves. This, according to Hero Goyen, is the intent of many abusers to systematically destabilize and confuse their victim with irrational, threatening behavior that preys on the victim's fears and self doubt, to isolate and control them, and ultimately to destroy their identity. These relentless predators are also incapable of compassion or empathy, always blame the victim, and never see their action as wrong. Already a bestseller in France, this clearly written and compassionate book offers sensible advice, get support, and leave the relationship of the abuse is personal. Take legal action if it is professional. Though it may not be easy to execute in every case, a smooth transition combined with a foreword by Thomas More and a jacket berth from Alice Miller should help this book find a niche readership. Okay, of thoughtful self-help readers and therapists. So here's a book written by a French psychotherapist. I think this was written in 2002, the first edition of this. Okay, originally published in 1998. So, and I've said this before, in Europe, had because this used to be such a widespread uh, um, thing that was happening that a lot of countries in Europe passed laws against job mobbing, uh, what is called workplace mobbing, also mobbing in society. And so a lot of the therapists in Europe recognize these signs, okay? But here in the United States, it's not the case. This is not the case, okay? And it is purposely meant to be this way because what they have done is basically infiltrate uh, the American psychiatric, the American uh, Psychology Association, or what the APA. Okay, um, and they've basically infiltrated uh, and compromised. Okay, those who are on the APA board, and they just basically ignore uh, targets when we come and we say, hey, this is what's happening, right? And so it is very hard for us targets here in America to get uh, psychologists, psychiatrists to take what we say seriously, because again, they have a written script that they have to follow, and it's either that or, I guess, lose business, right? So again, this is what we have to deal with as TI. So it's very difficult for us to get professional help, or for professionals to identify and recognize, okay, the coercive pattern, the emotional abusive pattern of our tormentors, and to offer us any help besides just putting us on medication. Okay. All right. So just wanted to put that in there. And again, anything that can help, I'll try to find and relay the information, okay, through my videos. And I hope that it helps someone out there. Even if it helps one person, then that's a good thing. Okay. So I'm not gonna get to the videos yet because there's a lot of stuff I need to talk about. So let's talk about propaganda. Okay. And the perpetrators of these crimes, uh, engaging against targeted individuals, the spreading of negative propaganda about the targeted individuals, in order to recruit members in society to participate in this sort of coercive persuasion program. On top of that, the use of mind control technology and microchip implants is a very what's the word I'm looking for here? Let me put it another way. So the use of those things, right, in order to cover up, right, the non-consensual human experimentation using uh, the psyops, okay, psychological warfare, okay, against the target to destabilize them, to make them look aggressive and violent, to break down their sense of value, sense of worth, to break down their psychological mind to where they the loss of intelligence, the loss of critical thinking is gone. The uh, psychological negative effect of memory loss, particularly short-term memory loss, is real. And so I want to talk about that, but I also want to address this because in my targeting, you see in my video, I get harassed a lot by the NYPD or members of the NYPD who are in this cult. And so they love to spread propaganda, negative propaganda against me. And they always find new recruits when I expose uh, those who have targeted me more aggressively. They will get new recruits to step in. Okay. And so people love to say, well, the police wouldn't do this. Okay. People love to say when we tell them what's happening to us that your neighbors wouldn't do this. Why would they do this to you? What makes you so important, right? Okay, well, what have you done to actually, what have you done for this to happen to you? Okay, so when they start saying stuff like that, beware. That is a good possibility that they're part of the program. They've been recruited or they've been manipulated, brainwashed to now ignore everything that you talk about if it pertains to the coercive persuasion program as well as the non-consensual human experimentation program, because they've been conditioned to shut down, to ignore, to deflect. And once you start to see those things, then doesn't matter what you say at that point, they're just not going to listen to you. Okay, so let's talk about the police and their involvement in this and how they uh, spread propaganda, negative propaganda, how they use civilians, okay, recruit civilians, uh, those who are highly religious because they themselves are very religious. And there is a term that I never heard before that I just found out, and it was something called moral harassment, moral psychological harassment, something like that. And again, because these people, they're religious people who feel they have some type of high, they feel like they're highly moral or have a, a, a stake or claim on morality, which they don't because their behavior shows it, but they can't see it. They can't recognize it. And again, that's the hypocrisy of their belief system. Okay, who they can say, well, uh, I believe in forgiveness and being good and all this, but turn around and participate in the destruction of a person's life, right? So I don't want to get stuck on that for too long. But anyway, go back to the with the police, right? So people say that, well, the police don't do this, and your neighbor's not going to do this. Why would they do this? They don't have the. Why would people spend their time doing this to you? And again, it just shows the mentality of the people around you, including family members, and how they have been conditioned. Okay, when there's clear evidence that people do this all the time, the police do all sorts of wrong all the time. Okay, so here is a news story, and just let me just say this: I am playing this, okay, because again, I want to show and teach people exactly what's being done. Okay, and since people can't see it, I have to do it in such a way that if you're a target and you want someone to understand what's being done to you, this is why I'm doing this particular video. Okay, so that you can show them, okay, that yes, these things do happen. Okay, so this came out a couple of years ago, where this couple bought a home, and then the entire town started to harass them with a noise campaign, including the police, fire department, ambulatory service. Listen, okay? So I want you to see how the media double speak, right? So she's attempting to make excuse for these individuals by saying that the family wore out its welcome. Now these people are the victim of an organized campaign to gang stalk on and harass them 24/7. This is what we as TI go through. You guys hear me do my video, and you hear the noise campaign that happens. Okay, as soon as I start doing the video, they start with the sirens or the car honking, and this is daily. If I get up in the middle of the night, immediately as I get up, I hear sirens. And it happens all the time, 24/7, 365 days a year. But when you tell people these things is happening to you, they don't want to listen. They don't believe it. Now, I don't have $20,000 to spend on surveillance camera and do all of this. All I have is just my cell phone, and I try to record, you know, my daily interactions with the people on my way to pick up the kids from school and back, or taking their mom to work, or going to my house, back and forth, or if we're going out, I'll record. Okay, but this couple, because they had the money, did the right thing in exposing what's being done. Okay, so this guy was the fire chief. Okay, and he got almost everyone in the town to participate in psychological warfare and noise campaign. Okay, so imagine that 100 times a day. Okay, sometimes when I'm being severely attacked, for me, it seems like more than that. Okay, in terms of the noise campaign, from the minute I get up in the morning. Okay, so let's say if I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, actually, let's be realistic. 'Cause I got to pick up, get the kids to school. So I get up at 6:30 or 7. Immediately as I get up, within I would say, well, it's almost immediately. So with a minute or two of me getting up, I start to hear car honking, sirens, whether it be police, ambulance, or fire trucks, right? And then I have shown many times in my video, the minute I go to pick up my kids in the afternoon between the hours of 2:30, okay, and 3 o'clock, because that's when I go and then we come back, you will constantly hear sirens. Constantly. Okay, and that's every day. Okay, so that's a pattern to me, right? Okay, and so you see what happens after time. You begin to recognize the noise pattern, right? Same thing that happened to me. Okay, so when I talk about waking up in the middle of the night and hearing the police sirens, and it's usually this sound, whoop, right? Or they'll do it twice, whoop, whoop, as they're driving by. This is what I'm talking about. And it doesn't matter what time I get up in the middle of the night. Okay, when I get up, I am guaranteed that there's going to be uh, police sirens going off. All right. So how do they know that I'm awake? And again, it's through the technology, through the mind control technology. Okay, that I am being forced awakened. Right. Not like Star Wars. Okay, but being microwave. Right. The technology is called silent sound spread spectrum. Okay, where I am being awakened out of my sleep. All right, and once I'm awake, I'll hear the sirens or a car honking. You know, shoot. Let's go back here. Firefighters. Okay, okay. Not even that, but I've also talked about you know the use of hearse to send me subliminal threats. So again, when people say, "Oh, people don't do things like this," clearly they do. All right, you have evidence. Okay, and when you present the evidence to them, if they don't want to look at it to understand what you're going through, like I said, there's either two possibilities: they're a part of it, or they've been conditioned to shut down. Okay, just remember that. Now, that's a combination of civilian, police, fire. Now let's talk about how uh, the police, how they engage in lies and cover up. Okay, let's talk about this. All right, and also let's talk about their own criminality. All right, because people love to think that the police is to serve and protect, and there are good police officers out there, very few. And you hear people say, well, it's just a few bad batch of police officers. No, it is not. It is the majority. The few that are good police officers who come forward to expose the criminal activities in their department, what do you think happened to them? They become target individuals. They're given a mental illness diagnosis. Their careers are ruined. Their lives are turned upside down. Okay? And again, we have proof, right? So why don't people listen to the truth? Because they're all being conditioned to ignore and shut down when you present them with truth. Okay, so let's watch this video. And again, this is just to educate people on what is happening and what has been happening in American society for decades. Okay. Okay. And how many times have I said that these officers who engage in this type of behavior against me and others, okay, that they are not police officers. They may wear the gun and the badge, but they're actually a criminal enterprise. They're a criminal entity masquerading as law enforcement officers. Okay? Okay, so they were robbing big time drug dealers. And you think this is new? This is not new. This was the same thing that was happening in the 1980s because the DEA was the one that was bringing drugs into the black community. Okay? And they were letting these drug dealers get big. They will either rob them or they will indict them, okay, on drug conspiracy. They will take all their money, which amounts to hundreds of millions of dollars, okay. The CIA will come in, take that money to fund the illegal war in South and Central America, okay. So this is not new, but yet, people still don't think that police officers commit criminal acts, even though again you see proof every single day. Okay? Every single day. From police officers killing unarmed civilians, to police officers engage in sex trafficking, to police officers engaging in prostitution, police officers engaging in dealing drugs. Okay, come on. Okay, so this guy was the prince of the police department. He had his pick of the creme of police officers. Okay, so these are the so-called good guys. These guys are so exemplary, okay, that they were considered the creme of the crop. Okay, but yet they're nothing more than a criminal organization. Okay, so that was just 7, and you see the racial makeup, right? You have blacks and white. So just because if you're a black person, you think because that police officer is your color, doesn't mean anything. Okay, because we all know that black police officers put the color blue in front of their blackness, whereas white police officers put their whiteness in front of the color blue. That's why when a black person commits a crime, okay, you have a swift arrest, a swift indictment, and a swift conviction. Whereas the vast majority of white police officers who commit crimes, you don't have that, okay? And 95% of the time, they get away with it. I mean, this is just ridiculous, right? But again, you know, people have this other trust in the police, even though, even black people who know that, if you call the police on your loved one who may have an episode because they have mental illness, they're still calling the police, knowing that there's a more than 80% chance that the police will end up killing their loved one. They still call the police. Okay? Instead of calling the mental health center or clinic, right? Because hospitals have them. Okay? If you're going to call the police, let them know that they need to send officers who are trained in dealing with someone who has a mental illness. And if they don't do that and they send officers who have no training, do not open your door if that loved one is inside your home. Leave, lock your door, okay? Call and ask for a supervisor who can then get the correct officers to come and deal with the situation with that loved one who has a mental illness. But we never learn. We keep repeating the same thing over and over. Okay? So that was just, examples. All right? And so we have to understand this. All right? When we try to explain to people what's happened to us with the psychological harassment, right? That we just can't just blab out whatever, but we have to come with proof, you know. And it took me a while to find that out. Okay, and but fortunately, you know, you have the internet, you have the news that reports on these things, and so it should become a little easier to have uh, people, uh, not just discredit you and cast you off as being crazy. Hopefully they're willing to look at uh, the evidence that you've collected, that they'll look at the videos of these things happening to other people, and to shut them up when they start saying stuff like, oh, people don't do stuff like this, or the police don't do stuff like this. Okay, because for some reason they just suffer from a heavy dose of uh, cognitive dissonance, and actually for some reason, but they've been conditioned that way. So you have to understand that. Okay. All right. So let's talk about psychological warfare. The three top priorities are objective. Okay. One, to discredit or destroy the victim's credibility, to conceal psychological warfare knowledge, and to eliminate the victim means of subsistence or resources. So we have to, as target individuals, okay, expose the psychological warfare, because, like it says here, to conceal the psychological warfare knowledge. So we have to expose it, okay? And once we start to expose it, then I think is when, you know, uh, we can get the proper help that we need, okay, much earlier as opposed to years later after being psychologically abused and manipulated. Okay. Okay. So also, before I go on, so this is an article by The Nation, and it says the biggest threat to American public safety is the American police state. And I want you guys to, whenever they're trying to make you feel like you are a threat to safety or a threat to national security, which they do all the time, I want you to do a video, bring up this article, and post it. Okay, so that people know who the biggest threat to American public safety is. Okay, and this is a very good read. It's about how the police want to condition or have conditioned society into them being a totalitarian state, and you should just do what they say. Okay, don't talk back. If they're assaulting you unjustly, don't fight back. If they're violating your rights, just shut up and let them continue violating your rights. Okay, and to just obey them. Right. So just wanted to add this in there. Okay, so guess what? It's time for the video. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back. All right, let's get to the video. So this happened yesterday, and I've been talking, so I'm gonna try to make this video uh, short. At least this series of that I'm gonna play right now short. And again, the use of the police to harass, um, and then you'll see the conjunction within the civilian perpetrators and the police. Okay, and also the introduction of a new recruit. Okay, and I can sometimes tell these newbies, okay, because I can always get them to do things uh, that I can get on video so you guys can see. Okay, so yesterday morning, taking the kids to school, and let's see here. Okay, I'm not going to play that one, but this is just the video of that. I'm not going to play that. All right, so I had to come back, pick the kid's mom up. She wanted to go to the Dollar Tree to get some balloons because someone was retiring at her job today. And it starts to get interesting when I parked up, because again, they're listening, invasion of privacy, so they know exactly where we're headed. Okay, so I'm muting for copyright purpose. So as you can see, I just pulled up across the street from the Dollar Tree. Okay, you'll see there's no really, I haven't identified any type of targeting yet. Okay, because that was at this, she wanted to go to the Dollar Tree. We didn't talk about it before she got in the car. So it's going to take them some time to reach out to the civilian perps and to, I guess, go over the subliminal that's going to be taking place as I'm parked up. Okay. Let's go back slightly. Okay, so here comes the first perp. Okay, so she steps out, look at me after taking her phone out. Okay, let's continue. All right, here's the second one. Okay. I think I might. All right, there you go. Okay. Second perp. Like I said, it'll takes them a while. So you see, he walks up, stops, because again, this car is leaving. He looks at me. Okay, she's staring at me. Now, again, you see how he stares at the license plate of this vehicle. He turns around and he walks away. Okay. Now, in the previous video I did, I talked about how the night before, this was on a Sunday, I went to the store and this guy was standing across the street. He sees me coming out the building, walking to the store. He crossed over, across the street, stands behind a car, and just turned and stared at the car license plate and stood there. Okay. Then when I came back, going back to the house, he gets off the sidewalk, goes back behind the same vehicle, staring at the license plate of that vehicle. same vehicle. All right, now the next phase. Okay, now watch these three teenagers. Well, four teenagers. Okay, watch the one in the black jacket in the front. He sticks his finger in his ears, and then he's going to, and you'll see he's staring at his nail. All right, turns like this. I'm going to talk about the hand signal with the four fingers. See right here. Again, repeated. Okay, then the as he turned, palm of his hand facing towards me. Okay, so again, psychological warfare. The recruitment of every age group. Okay, just like in cults, right? So, like I said, if you're young and your parents are in a religious cult or in a religion, or cults, and if your parents engage in this type of behavior, psychological uh, behavior, or coercive persuasion programming, the children will also engage in the same thing, in the destructive cult behavior. Children as young as 5 years old. Okay? All right. So they didn't have what she wanted, so we're going to a next Dollar Tree. And of course, they know that. So we're going to get there, and they're going to have a perpetrator that's there. And that's her right there with her child. Okay? And let me just skip to the part in which you'll see the script of the hand signals being placed. Okay, so now see this woman coming walking up. Okay, see she's staring at me, right? She looks at the woman. This woman, you'll see she looks into the storefront. Okay, at this point you'll see they're looking at each other. Okay, and at this point she takes out her phone, stares at her phone, then looks at me. The woman that's walking, she's staring at me. All right, staring campaign, and then she does this. See her? Okay, this is how quick they get people and set up these sort of scenarios. Okay, so it probably took us about 10 minutes from one store to get to the next, and they have already set up the street theater. Okay, and as she's still staring at me now, still staring at me. Okay, okay, it's kind of ridiculous. You know, if I haven't been through this so many times for so many years, and you know what they say, what doesn't kill you make you stronger, right? Okay, at least some things, because some things will kill you. All right, so don't get it twisted. When people say that stuff, sometimes it doesn't make you stronger. Sometimes it messes you up psychologically, physically, and emotionally. Okay. All right. So we are. I am heading to take her to work, and okay, it's fine. I'm not gonna create this one, and leave this one. Okay. So interesting. So pulled up at her job. This vehicle um, stops and blocked me from going to the going to the right. Okay, because he wanted to let someone off. And I'm saying to myself, there is all this room in front of him. Why is he stopping here? Okay, and there's no way for this individual to walk to the sidewalk because it's blocked off. All he has to do is see where this orange and white cone is, drive up there and let his passenger out, right? Because there is a an area which the person can just walk uh, into the sidewalk. But again, everything is scripted, everything is planned, and the reason why he's parked there again is because, all right. So you see where he parks, right? And again, see the guy walked over with the red jacket. So, so now you see where he walks to go into to go on the sidewalk, right? Whereas the individual in the van parked up to let the passenger out. And so this is where I'm going to park to let Pam out, right? And you want the reason why they did that? Because of course I'm going to go around him and park, and the vehicle here, the number 32 in the license plate. Remember again, everything is pre-planned. These people, they get up every single morning, right, and plan this shit out, and they have different scenarios. Okay, so if I didn't take it to work this morning, you know, there'll be a different scenario played out. Okay. Okay. So now heading back home. Let's get back here. Okay. So she just got on the bike. As I approached, he started doing his hand signal. He had his scarf around his face, and he starts to, pull it up over his nose. Well, it had it around his mouth. He starts to pull up over his nose, and then he'll pull it down again. And as he's doing that, see the police vehicle? Okay. The minute they come around the corner to synchronization, they turned on their lights. Okay. No sirens. They just turned on the lights. All right. And again, it's all orchestrated, all planned. Okay. just so, again, synchronization, talked about precision movement, right? Intersecting and interacting with the target. This is what they do. This is, again, the tracking of the movement, the use of civilians to send subliminal threats or psychological uh, threats or subliminal messages. Okay. And so now, like I said, on my way home, okay, let's get to the next video. This one, let's get to the one where I parked up. Okay. Okay, so got parking. I have to sit in the car and wait until 10:30 so I can leave because I don't want to get a ticket. This is alternate side parking. This was Thursday. So let's go. All right. So, okay, not after long of me parking, all right, you'll see where's the postwoman. Again, you know, all, uh, you know, all businesses, all corporation, all government uh, entities, offices, they're all infiltrated with these people. So when I have issues with my delivery that's supposed to be delivered by the post office, is because the perpetrators are in the post office, either holding on to my packages, destroying my packages, or outright theft of my packages. Okay, so she comes across, she stands right there, looks at me, and then she's going to do this. She's going to turn to me and do this. See that? That's what she's doing as she's turning and looking at me. Okay, now she takes her thumb, and I'm just going to do the same thing that she's doing. I'm not trying to target anyone. I'm just illustrating what she's doing. Okay, so if you're a TI watching this, please understand I'm not trying to target you. If they're doing the same thing to you, right, that she's doing to me, then we probably have uh, some of the same targeting going on. Okay, so she takes her thumb and then she goes like this. Okay, now she's going to do it more than once. So she keep pressing against her nose with her thumb, and then she's going to do it again. Okay, okay. So let's get to the other incident, which is here we go. So now again, you'll see the next perpetrator. Okay, here she comes. But you watch that. She takes a bottle of water out, drink it. All right. She turns. She looks at me. Does this again. Okay. And then you'll see her as she puts the bottle of water away, look at the middle finger sticking out. You see that? Again, look at the middle finger sticking out. Okay. Doing it in a subtle way where it's slightly out, as opposed to if I wasn't recording, it would be full out, middle finger, fully sticking out. Okay. And again, it's all set up, orchestrated. This guy that's running up here next, as he runs past me, he sticks his tongue out. See, he's looking. Okay, camera didn't catch him, but he sticks his tongue out at me. Okay, then there was another guy on a bike. Let's see if I can get to him. Let's get to the next video. I think he's on the next one. I think I might have skipped past him, but that's okay. All right, so okay, so at this point, okay, see the guy standing here. Okay, let me let's go. All right, watch this. Okay, so see this guy in front. See this woman right here walking behind him. He's walking. He's gonna stop, turn, look at me, takes his phone out. Okay, he's looking at me, takes his phone out, looks at me, put it back in his pocket, and then he turns around and walk away. Okay. Now, how does he know that at that moment is when I'm getting out the car, right? That's the silence on spectrum at work and the remote node monitoring. Okay. And so now, as I exit out the car, I still have the camera recording. Because again, I know it's not done. And you see the guy that was approaching, because he sees that I have the camera, the phone in my hand recording, so he walks across the street. Had I not been recording, he would have walked towards me and probably do something like stick his finger in his ears or do this, or stick his tongue out. And that, you know, again, when you've been going through this for so many years, you learn their behavior, right? And you can anticipate what is that they're going to do. So I knew it wasn't over. So again, you'll see me walking. Okay, now the footage is a little shaky because I'm walking, and but I want you to look at this lady in the purple jacket that's coming down. She's a Muslim lady who they just recruited to target me, and you'll see as I get close to her. And I'm gonna just pause this for a minute. She's going to start to do all these hand signals. So you see her hands come down. You'll see go back up again. There you go. Now she's sticking her hands in her ears, as you can see. Okay. And meanwhile, I'm doing hand signals to her as I'm walking there. Her hands go up again. You know, she's doing the 4 fingers like this. Okay. I need to put the sound on for this. So I want you guys to listen to this. Okay. Then, because I'm doing hand signals back to her, she'll, well, actually, she's wearing a purple scarf. But you'll see she takes her phone out of her pocket. And this is what they always do, right? Whenever we engage in this sign language battle or what have you, eventually, as they get closer, they'll take their phone out of their pocket, because I guess that's the only action that they can do, right? They have been trained to do when we're engaging in this back and forth hand signal type thing. All right, so she takes her phone out, and then she's going to stop. Okay. See, if had I just walked past, right? She's still going to say what she's going to say. Okay, but I probably wouldn't have caught it on the mic of the phone, right? So when she stops, I stop. Okay, and then this is what she says. She says sorry. Now, like I said, I have never got that on video before, but I've talked about this, right? From time to time, after they've blitzed me with a heavy dose of targeting, you know, using all these new recruits, okay, they will walk past me and they will say, sorry, okay? But again, what are they sorry for? To try to make me believe that they're sorry for what they've done to me and continue to do to me? They're not sorry, because guess what? The same thing repeats itself over and over again. So we'll always get back to this point, but then it'll repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. And then they'll get some new person to walk past me again and say sorry. Just as how they used to do the testing. Whenever I'm driving, if there's a sign on the side of the road, they'll always have the word test on it to make you believe that this is a continuing test that you're being put through. And I've talked about this already, okay? And this is also on the website psychologicalharassment.com, okay, which has a wealth of information, okay? And then you hear the sirens in the background, okay? Okay, and that's the reason why I engage in the back and forth hand signals. Okay, because like I said, you know, there are times when there's certain things that they used to do to me that I couldn't get on video, but because I've become so more diligent in recording and adjusting my way of recording them, right? Just learning and adapting, just as how they adapt when I uncover or expose certain things that they do, how they adjust their behavior or targeting to prevent me from, uh, you know, getting it on video. And that's some perps, and some of the perps are smarter than others. Okay, some of them will do it at a distance, and as they get close, they're not going to do it because they don't want to be put on video or me recognizing and saying this individual here engaging in this type of tactics. Others, they don't care. Okay, is the one that have that attitude that they don't care. Those are the ones that I like, because if they're gonna blatantly do it knowing that I'm recording, right? So what better way to record them and to show what it is that they do? Because some of these people are more fanatical than others. Okay, and they're not done, because again, this is all followed by the use of the police to show that, or to let me know, they're the ones that are controlling these individuals, these civilian individuals. Good old criminals masquerading as law enforcement officers. Okay, this is what they are. Okay, okay. I mean, you begin to recognize the patterns, you know, to where it's like you expect them because and they, when it comes to stuff like this, they really change up their tactics. You just have to be able to get it on video. right? See, that's the difficult part of it. But because they're trying to shut me up so much, they're trying to dominate me. Remember, they're playing that domination game, right? So they will go to the extreme, because the stronger that you become in terms of not succumbing to the fear-based conditioning, the more you fight back is the more they're going to come at you. The more extreme their behavior is going to be towards you. Okay? And once you understand that concept, okay, and once you start to record, you're going to get on video what you have never gotten before. Okay? To prove and show of what it is that they're doing. Okay? So that's it for the video. I hope this video has been very informative. I hope you use this video to show your loved ones, your friends. If you're a TI, you still have friends who are non-TI, to explain to them and to say, hey, look, this is what's happening. Oh, I almost forgot. There was a couple of videos that I want, not videos, but a couple of photos, and I forgot. You have to excuse me again. My short-term memory is, not that great. And so only reason why I remember it now, because I just got a text messages from the TI that she sent me pictures of police, okay, harassing her at her job, okay, when she goes into work at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. She's in California, okay, and I'm gonna try and put those images on my next video. But she goes to work at 5 a.m. in the morning, and where she goes to park, there's like police cruisers parked up there. When she goes out on her lunch break, there's police cruisers outside her workplace. When she leaves her job, again, there's police cruisers will pull up there. They'll do street theater in terms of like, acting like they pull somebody over. But again, the police and the civilians are engaging in psychological warfare. Okay, and so I gotta apologize for her, because I know she's gonna see this video. I apologize to her, and I told her I was gonna put the pictures on the video, and I just forgot. So I'll try to remember and put it in the next video so you guys can see, right? When they blitz us, okay, it's like a nationwide thing that they do, right, to all the TIs that spread across the United States. Okay, and again, it's because this is a program. Okay, this is a state-funded government, whatever you want to call it, but notice that the government is the reason that this is happening. Okay, and again, it's to cover up the non-consensual human experimentation, the illegal microchipping. Okay, they engage in this sort of behavior because they've used dark psychology, dark NLP to villainize you so they can get civilians to participate in this program, to discredit you, to destroy your livelihood, so that you won't fight back, so that they mentally incapacitate you, right? So that you have, health problems, right? To kill you off quickly in order to silence you and get rid of you, right? Because they have experimented on you using directed energy weapons, illegal microchip for the purpose of remote neural monitoring, okay? The continuous use of microwave weapon for mind control, which they do to me, okay, which I get headaches, which has damaged my brain, okay? The use of vibrational acoustical weapon, okay, to see the biological, physical effect on the human being in terms of long-term exposure, which is how they damage my spine, okay? And they're trying very hard to shut me up, okay? But I do this video every single day with conviction, because it is my hope that people look at my videos, okay, and not just pass me off as being some crazy guy, but understand that this could happen to you, your family, your brother, your sister, your mother, your daughter, your husband, your wife, your friends, your cousins, your aunts, uncles, okay? And that when it comes to human experimentation, it doesn't just happen in third world countries like India and Africa. And I shouldn't say third world countries, but in other countries, okay? This happens right here in the United States. It has happened, it continues to happen, and it will continue to happen if victims or targets, okay, are conditioned into this fear-based conditioning program in order to silence them, in order to drive them to suicide, right? In order to provoke them so that they will commit violent acts, so therefore they can incarcerate them or institutionalize them into mental institution to get rid of them. Okay, we know for a fact that the government experiments on prisoners. We know for a fact that the government experiment on the mentally ill. We know for a fact that the government experiments on the homeless. Okay, and you are now knowing for a fact that the government experiment on people who have education, who've had good paying jobs, who some are wealthy, okay? So they have moved to the point where they are experimenting on everyone, whether you're homeless, mentally ill, whether you're incarcerated, whether you're not incarcerated, whether you're educated, whether you're not educated. They pick and choose and they select who they want to experiment on. Okay? This is what it has come down to. They have learned so much from Nazi Germany, okay? Especially with the psychological warfare program, okay? And they quest to control the human mind and the human being, okay? Because sooner or later down the line, if you guys don't wake up, okay, you will find yourself in another form of slavery in which your suffering is going to be acceptable. They are conditioning you to where things are going to get harder and you're going to be comfortable with it. Okay? That you're not going to get angry, you're not going to question things, because the use of these mind control technology, okay, the use of these radio frequencies, these microwave frequencies that they're beaming into our minds to make us docile and compliant slaves. Okay? Well, that's it for the video. Thank you.